Come on, put it together for Christopher Anthony! I'm just going to leave it exactly as it is and not fuck with the mic so you guys can hear me and have a good time. Alright, I got parents in the house. I got a few jokes for you guys. They say that when you're raising a young baby, that mom should sleep when the baby sleeps. Just what makes sense. Well, babies love to sleep in the car, and now my friend doesn't have her driver's license, so I'm visiting my friend Jenny. She has a 3-year-old son. He actually bit another friend that was over at the house. She grabbed him, put him in the room. 5 minutes later, she comes out. I don't see him. But she did what anybody does. She put him to sleep. I don't understand when they say things like slept like a baby. How'd you sleep? Oh, I slept like a baby. So you woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning crying, covered in shit? You're staying at an Airbnb, they're going to charge you for that. It's not uncommon for a lot of kids to end up being like raised by their grandparents. I imagine the most difficult part of doing that is probably breastfeeding, you know? I mean, it's a nursing home, but not really. It's really customary for families to bring their kids, you know, like they plan a big Disney trip, you know? Big Disney trip. But the most stressful part is probably, you know, finding a babysitter so you can enjoy the park. And I don't know if you guys have been to a theme park, but they actually have this thing called Kid Swap. So with Kid Swap, what you do is like one family rides, you watch their kids, and then when they're off the ride, they watch your kids while you go back to the hotel. It's pretty amazing. I remember the last time I saw my dad, we were playing peekaboo. It's a really fast runner. That's what mom told me. I don't know. My mom, when I was younger, always made a point to having like sports, martial arts, some kind of like extracurricular activity. So she had something to blame the bruises and cuts on, you know what I mean? It's rough, you know? Sorry. All through Christmas, my mom, it's true, single parent family, lived in Bronx, New York, Puerto Rican mom. Guys would have stayed around, but my mom was so violent. Anyway, so she always made a point every Christmas, we always had two things. We had a Christmas tree, and it was always covered in lights. And that was her way of letting us know we had electricity, and we lived indoors. Merry Christmas. That was nothing under the tree because the tree was lit. So was my mom. This isn't counseling, is it? All right. I do have like a great tactic because look, like this whole Santa thing can get really, really expensive and then really, really traumatic, right? Your kids anywhere from like 8 to 13, depending on how much you can afford to keep playing the role. But then you have this awkward conversation about how like, hey, Santa isn't real. And then the kid's like, oh my God, you've been lying to me my whole life. Is that really my dad? Is that my uncle or just a really affectionate guy who comes by during the holidays? Like, I don't trust anything anymore. It's very awkward. So I have a much better way, okay? For $80, I sell you a dummy inside a Santa Claus outfit. Provided you have like a front yard, side yard, or backyard, what you do is you just bury Santa Claus. Now your kid comes down Christmas morning, like rushing down all excited, like, where's the gifts? Where's the gifts? And you're like, I just need you to sit down for a second, okay? I didn't want to have a gun in the house. Your dad insisted on it. You know, he thinks he's prepping for this whole world dystopian thing. You don't even understand what I'm trying to... Anyway, So we don't have a chimney, okay? He came through the door at like 1:30 in the morning. I don't know this guy. I'm scared, okay? So I killed Santa, and I'm sorry. But I'm gonna need you to dig deep. And by dig deep, I mean a deeper hole. I got tired at like 4. But don't tell any kids. See, now that kid goes back to school and never tells any other kid that Santa Claus doesn't exist. You never have to buy Christmas gifts because there's way too much trauma associated with that. I just saved you thousands of dollars. And you're only telling one lie. Merry Christmas. So most people's New Year's resolutions are restoring your online reputation, basically fixing your social media, losing weight, or getting out of debt, right? Those are the top 3. Maybe break a bad habit would be the 4th one. So restoring your online reputation, losing weight, getting out of debt. Now let's rewind. October, you wore some very embarrassing costumes and people photographed it. In November, right, you ate, and in December you bought a shit ton of gifts for people you hardly care about just to be like, hey, I know at the end of the year you're gonna think I don't care, I got you a gift card. Anyway, so if you just don't do any of those things, you have a head start. You didn't gain weight in November, you didn't lose money in December, and you didn't take any embarrassing. I am giving you guys gifts. Okay, that's fine. You'll think about it later. I don't drink. When I tell people I don't drink, they always think that there's a story. You know, they always think that like either my mom or my dad had some horrible drinking problem. There's no story. I just don't like the taste of alcohol. You know, like I also don't eat mayonnaise. But that's because my dad beat the fuck out of me with a mayonnaise jar. But no one's ever like, hey man, we were gonna go out and some of these places might serve mayonnaise. I might have some mayonnaise tonight. Is that cool with you? Or is there like static involved with that? I'm not really crying. It's good. What I'm saying is, no one ever asks me about the mayo situation. But the drinking's always a big problem. Are you cool with me drinking? Yeah, sure. I'm not an alcoholic. I just drink whenever I leave the house. It's not a big deal. And I drink until I forget where I live. But I'm not an alcoholic. Okay, all right. I got more jokes. Here we go. But if you are single on New Year's Eve, your only New Year's resolution seems to be not to be single for the rest of the year, right? Like you figure something out. So I end up looking for dating advice from the wrong people. Like most of my friends that are married, they've been married for a while and they met in high school. So I'm like, oh, where'd you guys meet? They're like, oh, well, we actually met in high school. That only works if you are also in high school. So now I'm not allowed near any school. It's bad advice. Anyway, so like social media is super popular and stuff like that. So there's this girl I've been following and she like always has like really nice like meals at expensive restaurants and she always wears like the coolest outfits and like I gotta gather the courage to like talk to her, you know, eventually because she's not on social media. It's a joke about how I'm literally following a girl. I was dating a girl who told me she wanted to be treated like a Disney princess. I want to be treated like a Disney princess. Thanks, Dad. So I told her, I said, look, I don't know what you think about me or what you think I'm capable of, but I'm not willing to kill both of your parents. I've seen enough Disney movies to know how it works. You're an orphan and then money just generates from nowhere. We broke up actually because I was telling her that with all these like live action Disney films, she's like, oh, who do you think is the prettiest? Who do you think is the hottest? And I'm like, actually, the human version of Ariel. She's like, why? Because of the red hair? I'm like, no, because she can't talk. There's nothing hotter than a woman who can't physically argue with you, Brenda. Dating another girl, and she said that the only way she would ever give me roadhead again is if I drove. Like, I can't do everything. On another date, this is a true story, on another date, it was not going well. The conversation wasn't going well. And so what I did, just had some fun, you know, our drinks came with cherries, and I bet her $20 that she couldn't tie a cherry stem into a knot. I lost $20, but I gained 15 minutes of silence. Try it at home. A few more jokes. My friend's always chasing women. You know, you heard the expression chasing women. He usually ends up with like a larger women because they don't run as quickly. Another one of my friends, this is true, my friend Dan, we were just all just hanging out, just broing out, and he's like, guys, I like to fuck big girls. And everybody was like, yeah, woo, yeah. And then I chimed in, I'm like, I like to fuck little girls. I meant to say petite, obviously. Choice of words. It happens. Two more jokes, and I'm out. I'm laying in bed with my lady, in case you guys are still confused, I know. Laying in bed with my lady, and she whispers to me, I don't know why we're the only people in the room, it's not a library, speak up, come on. She said, I want you to make me feel violated. Yeah. So, I did what I thought any man would do. I tied her hands to the headboard, I tied her feet to the footboard, put a gag in her mouth, right, and then I looked at her cell phone. For like 20 minutes. Apparently she was into some 50 Shades of Grey kind of shit, but we should have talked about that before the gag went in the mouth. Because I thought 50 Shades of Grey was porn for the elderly. Because it makes sense. Because, okay, last joke. I'm having sex with a girl, and she does this thing. I don't know why women do this. We're having sex, and she's like, deeper, deeper. And I'm like, it's a dick. It's not like the Star Wars franchise. It's like, oh, you thought you saw all the dick? I had more dick. I wasn't going to give you the extra dick until you asked, right? I'm not going to put more food on your plate if you're not eating what you get, right? But I would never, ever be having sex with a girl and be like, shallower, shallower. I want to hit a wall. Does it ever end? Come on. Plus, it couldn't get any more shallow. Because we met on Tinder. I'm Christopher Anthony. You guys have been great.